This time on Monkey Life, Ruby, the park's newest marmoset, gets to meet the boys.
Hey, missus. Good girl, Rubes.
But it doesn't all go according to plan.
Hey, yeah, I'll give him a little squirt.
Lola the chimp is diagnosed with an eye condition.
Come here, loving.
The care team must teach her to allow a close-up examination.
Eyes. Good girl.
And after a breakfast of fruit and jelly for the orangs, Roro's left with the washing up. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
I think this one's a little boy, and I think that that one over there might be an older lady.
The park provides a home for more than 250 monkeys and apes from 20 different species. It's a big day for the park's newest marmoset. Ruby, a black tufted adult, was rescued from a private home in Grimsby, and she spent last night across the corridor from 2 adult males. It's hoped they'll form a happy group. Jock is a common marmoset, famed in the park for good manners and good temper, and he's first in to meet her.
Come in and say hello, Jock.
Good boy. Slow is better. Hey, missus. Good girl, Rubes.
Jock is keen to introduce himself to the new neighbour without making a lot of fuss.
Jock just tried to approach Ruby in quite a calm and gentle way, and she backed away. So he's now following her, and she's just moving away nicely and slowly from him. So that's good. Jock's gone up to her and sniffed her and had a few tongue flicks, which is flirting for a marmoset. Well, males will flick their tongues at the ladies. Good boy. And she accepted all of that, and they've actually met face to face a couple of times and had a little sniff. So far, so good.
It's a good start, but Jock is only half of the adult male duo, and there's one more to meet.
Right, I'm gonna open up the whole house so that Colin has access to them too.
Colin is younger and smaller than Jock, but has a big, bolshy attitude. He's not great at making new friends, and chuntering indicates aggression.
All right, Colin, marmalade, please.
Unlike Jock's gentle approach, Colin's is full on.
The worry is that every time Jock moves towards her, does Colin come steaming in and feel like it's a team thing against her. So we'll have to wait and see. If anything, what Colin should do if he were behaving more normally is try and become friends with Ruby and then try and boot Jock out. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Ruby's getting wary as Colin gets more aggressive.
Hey, yeah, I'll give him a little squirt.
A squirt of water is usually enough to calm the situation.
Hey, you.
But not today. Alison is pulling the plug before anyone gets hurt. This group will not make a happy trio.
So we're pretty much back to the drawing board now with Ruby and who we put with her. There was the thought that perhaps we could leave Jock with her and find Colin someone else, but unfortunately Colin has a history of being a very stroppy boy with any other male. We've actually tried him with previous combinations of different people. And he's always reacted quite badly. So we don't want to ruin the Jock-Colin relationship that we've got because we have at least one marmoset reliably Colin will get on with. So we're going to have to look at who we've got at the park and who we could potentially try with Ruby now.
Across the park, the orangutans in Tien's group face a challenging start to the day. Breakfast is arriving by the bucket load, but there's been a change to the menu.
We've decided to put a jelly bucket out for the orangutans. Should be a bit of fun for them. It's low calorie as well, so it's free fun.
As well as the jelly, there's an unusual take on a fruit punch.
I got a breakfast, really nice breakfast. Put it in the big tap truck and soak in the water. So some floating and some underneath, right stuck at the bottom. So they're gonna have fun. Nice breakfast, eh?
But Tien and his ladies are going to have to work for their meal. While the foodstuff is all placed up high, there are decoy buckets of bubble bath on the ground. The challenge for each member of the group is to work out which bucket is which, before the others do. Arme heads straight for the foam. Surely there's breakfast under here. If it's not there, maybe this one? Jolie watches closely just in case she's onto something. But no, this is a real head-scratcher. Arme leaves no stone, or rather no bucket, unturned in her hunt for the food. Tien, however, is an old hand at this and steals a bucket for himself. Roro follows his example. Linga's found a bucket now, but she's determined not to share it with anyone. Arme's found some fruit at last, but has a more generous nature and lets Jolie share. Linga is on the hunt for even more hidden treats. Roro savours every last drop before carefully washing her hands. While Tien prefers the finger-licking approach. And avoids the washing up by having a snooze. At Paddy's enclosure, the chimps are enjoying the summer sunshine in their own individual ways. Grisby opts for full-on sunbathing. Mickey is just chilling, while Clin enjoys a picnic, and Paddy and Bart are keeping an eye on things. But for one female, even sultry summer days are becoming increasingly difficult, which is why the care team are keeping a close watch on Lola, who has developed a problem with her eyes.
We did notice that her eyesight was deteriorating from her behaviour as well as seeing it physically, so it was a bit of a mixture between the both. Obviously we could see what was going on with Lola's eyes, but we weren't sure just how much of her eyesight she was losing.
Lola has been diagnosed with cataracts. It appears her right eye is worse than her left. It's starting to affect her quality of life and her safety.
She's moving around okay at the moment. We have seen her miss the odd step, which particularly up high is quite dangerous for Lola's care long term. And not only that, she is obviously missing out on bits of food. And generally being around a chimp group, they're very active, they've got a lot of energy, they are moving around very fast, so it can be quite hard for Lola to keep up with that. And actually she does react and get quite nervous when a chimp suddenly runs past her. It takes her by surprise much more than it would the other individuals because she just can't see everywhere around her.
The team estimate that Lola is 28, which is middle-aged for a chimp. She was smuggled from the wild and rescued in 1993, from a life as a photographer's prop on a beach in Spain.
Come on.
To monitor Lola's eyesight and check the deterioration, Lisa has been giving her one-on-one clicker training sessions. Lola has been trained to come in, present her eyes to the mesh,
Eyes. Good girl.
and let Lisa use an ophthalmoscope to examine her cataracts.
Eyes. We're just looking at the level of cloudiness, really. In Lola's pupil, she has white dots, so it's checking to see if they've got any bigger. She has clouding over the actual eye, which we need to keep an eye on, as well as training her to hold her eyes steady. Lola, eyes, whilst they're being looked at. Because quite often the chimps, when you're looking into their eyes, will move their eyes around quite a bit, so we just need to get Lola's focus and hold steady so that when she is looked at, we can get a really good examination of the eye. Girl.
Many of the chimps at the park are trained to present certain parts of their body for checking. But training Lola to allow her eyes to be examined is much more demanding and precise. But it's important. Once she's comfortable with it, an eye specialist will be able to determine if she can have an operation to remove the cataracts. And allowing the staff to examine her eyes will mean aftercare and recovery will be easier.
Lola's proven to be really good with her training, so we should be able to do the aftercare really well with her. So hopefully she should have full eyesight back and go back to being a nice, happy chimp.
At the Saki and squirrel monkeys' shared enclosure, it's hoped that love, or at least friendship, could soon be in the air. Chloe, a female Saki monkey, arrived yesterday from France as a potential partner for aging male Saki Jethro. The French female settled in quickly and was obviously hoping for a tête-à-tête with her prospective mate. Unfortunately, he took more of a laissez-faire attitude to the possibilities. Jethro may well have spent too much time as a bachelor, enjoying his own company. But Karen from the primate care team is happy with Chloe's progress.
Chloe's done really well overnight. They settled well last night. They all ate dinner, happily moving around the rooms together. All were fine this morning when I came into work. And again, they all ate breakfast. And we're ready to let them out.
At the park, the Saki and squirrel monkeys share an enclosure. While they're very different, they get along well together.
Good monkeys. Here you go, guys.
Each morning, the squirrel monkeys and Jethro head outside to enjoy the day. Munching on her breakfast, it takes Chloe a while to realise everyone else has vanished, but she soon catches on.
Took her about 10 minutes before she came outside, but ever since then she's been enjoying the outside enclosure, has literally been all the way around it, checking out every single spot.
Chilled out Chloe is equally at home outside as in. And she seems completely accepting of her new companions, the squirrel monkeys. But Jethro still isn't paying her any attention. He's a monkey of habit and heads to a favourite spot to tongue flick, a Saki flirting behaviour. It's just a pity it's not yet directed at Chloe. Unaware of the possibilities in their midst, the active squirrel monkeys are their usual curious selves. Topsy searches for tasty insects. And Charlie buzzes around, demonstrating his fly-catching skills. Even the changeable British weather doesn't put them off. Meanwhile, with her initial attempts to befriend Jethro rebuffed, Chloe opts to enjoy the outdoors and joins in the feast.
Jethro's still not completely sure about Chloe. She still quite likes him and she goes up to him quite a few times, but at the moment he's still moving away from her. He's not upset by her, he's not scared of her, so it's just, it will take time for them to get settled.
It's still early days, but there's plenty of time for the elderly couple to become friends. And that might be enough for both of them. At the golden-cheeked gibbon enclosure, young female Kim is happily hanging out again with her partner Tien. It's a relief for the care team, who've been worrying about her after a difficult week.
Everything is back to normal now with Tien and Kim. I mean, we had to keep Kim inside really for a few days to let her stomach really settle down. We didn't want to risk her being up in these beautiful trees and taking a big leap and actually bursting open those stitches. So we kept them both in, kept them nice and quiet for a few days. Now they're just as back to normal, close and really loving together.
The young gibbon had an emergency caesarean operation after the staff discovered she was in labour and experiencing difficulties. The vet was called in, but sadly, she lost the baby.
I think we've lost him. Anybody disagree?
Kim's post-op recovery was a very worrying time for her carers.
When Kim came round from the anaesthetic, she's very confused and disorientated, and you could see that her limbs were all wobbly and her eyes were a bit sort of drunk looking. She wasn't coordinated and she was falling over, so it's a little bit worrying when they're in that sort of coming round stage.
They're used to seeing her loved up and affectionate with partner Tien. But after she lost the baby, there was a change in her behaviour. The normally active, feisty female was very subdued and solitary.
Whether that was simply a physical result of the pain that she was in because she'd had a large operation, she had a large scar, or whether that was that understanding and she actually just was really sad because her baby was gone, it's hard for us to know.
Whatever the cause, the operation had a big impact on Kim and Tien's relationship.
We didn't see Tien anywhere near Kim for over 24 hours, which is very unusual. They're normally always hugging. Now, part of that could simply be the fact that Kim would have smelt very bizarre. With the combination of the chemicals that we used to obviously clean up her body, the anaesthetic chemicals, they obviously come out the body as well, and they do smell quite strong and quite an offensive kind of smell as well. Or maybe he just thought it was best to stay out the way because these girls can be a little bit grumpy sometimes, and so it was maybe just the wisest thing to just keep out her road for now.
But within a few days, things began to improve, and Kim is showing signs of a good recovery. She's eating well, and despite her stitches, is moving more freely round the house. Tien is also more relaxed, and crucially, they're back to sitting alongside each other and hanging out. The couple have recovered from their ordeal and are back to normal, and just as loving as ever. Kim's lost baby was an unexpected pregnancy, but the park does support breeding programs for some of its primate residents, and with good reason. In the wild, woolly monkeys are classified as vulnerable, but in captivity could be considered endangered, as they're notoriously difficult to breed and suffer from chronic hypertension. The park is part of a program helping to ensure the continuation of this rare South American species, and the team have had great success, with 16 babies born at the park in the last 10 years. And over at Oscar's group, it looks like more good news is on the way.
Thingy. We are suspecting that Zingu is pregnant again. She's shown a few signs, some of the behaviours, eating a bit more, drinking a bit more, and she definitely seems to be a bit more swollen kind of on the underneath side of her stomach area. To know exactly how far along she is in her pregnancy is quite hard for us to tell. We do look for particular differences in their behaviours and things like that, but that's the only real thing we've got to go on other than the size of her belly growing.
This will be Zingu's second baby, She's already raised one here at the park, Zavi, who's now 2.
She's a fantastic mum. She really cared for her babies really well. She's a brilliant mum. We couldn't ask for anything better, really.
Father to Zavi and the new baby is the leader of the troop, Oscar.
Oscar's brilliant with the youngsters. He absolutely adores any of the babies, any of the children in the group. He's a real softie at heart, a real gentle character. So doesn't mind when the babies start crawling all over him, has a good old play session when they get a bit older. So Oscar's a fantastic dad for the babies to have.
Oscar was born in the wild. The team think he's about 30 years old, which is several years older than the average lifespan for a woolly. In recent months, the years have started catching up with him.
He suffers from quite bad spinal arthritis, which unfortunately recently has been playing up for him. He did have quite a bad spell recently where it actually meant that he lost the use of his back legs almost completely. So unfortunately for a couple of days he wasn't able to move around very well at all. His mobility really was limited. Luckily though, with a lot of work with him, different medications and to help him through the pain, things like that, we have managed to get the use of his legs back for him. So life at the moment for Oscar is just a case of monitoring him, taking him completely on a day-by-day basis and taking life at his pace. We just need to make sure that he's happy every day and comfortable, so whatever we can do for him, then we will do.
With a new son or daughter likely to arrive in the next few months, the team are hoping this elderly and loving dad will be around to see the new arrival. Next time on Monkey Life, Lola the chimp is losing her sight. A human eye specialist is called in to operate.
You can see I'm just going to peel like a little window in the lens.
And baby orangs Rika and Bulu find exploring is best done in pairs.